We are living in an era where the traditional playbook for male success is not just outdated, it is fundamentally broken. Every single day, millions of men enter the arena of life, sacrificing their long-term potential for short-term comfort, operating under the dangerous illusion that baseline hard work alone will save them. The brutal reality of our economic and social ecosystem is that the market does not reward your silent ambitions or your hidden desires. It only yields to the ruthless, intentional alignment of your career, your confidence, and your capital. Yet 99% of men completely ignore these foundational laws of human psychology, choosing to play a safe, compliant game while wondering why they remain stagnant, broke, and invisible. This is not a passive motivational speech. This is an urgent intervention for your future. You are rapidly running out of the luxury of time, and every single day you spend ignoring this blueprint, you are actively auditing your own decline. It is time to stop playing by rules designed to keep your average, step out of the compliant masses, and execute a standard that forces the world to recognize your value. Our generational conditioning begins the very moment we teach children to trade their finite hours for a static, predictable reward. The world's psychology systematically trains the next generation to sell their raw time to an existing machine, rather than inspiring them to build scalable systems that can run completely independent of their physical presence. Shifting this underlying framework requires us to redefine success for the young minds watching our execution. When we break the time for money trap, we gift children a psychological blueprint of true leverage, ensuring they grow up to create systemic value instead of selling their freedom. True human confidence inside a child is never manufactured by the superficial applause of an outer circle. In our modern environment, we constantly shower children with immediate validation for empty participation, teaching them to look outward for their sense of worth. This cultural conditioning creates a fragile foundation where a child's identity becomes entirely dependent on the fluctuating opinions of the crowd. Real resilience is forged when a child is allowed to struggle, iterate, and master a skill in deep, uninterrupted isolation. When young minds anchor their confidence in quiet competence rather than public praise, they develop an unshakable belief in their own capability. The way we introduce the concept of currency to children dictates whether they will grow up as economic captives or masters of their own destiny. We systematically train young minds to view capital merely as a transactional ticket for immediate gratification, pushing them toward empty consumption. This early conditioning completely hides the true purpose of wealth from them. Redefining money for children means teaching them that capital is actually stored freedom, a tool designed to protect their future sovereignty. When a child learns that resources provide the structural strength to say no to compromised situations, their entire psychological framework transforms. The modern digital landscape is intentionally designed to hijack a child's neurological reward system by offering immediate, effortless dopamine hits. When we constantly shield children from the healthy friction of waiting, we inadvertently condition their minds to operate purely within a hyper-short time horizon. This relentless cycle of instant gratification strips young minds of their natural capacity to envision a future beyond their immediate desires. Breaking this infinite psychological trap requires us to actively reward children for their patience, grit, and long-term endurance. When a child learns to look past immediate temptation, their entire psychological horizon completely expands. The greatest disservice we commit against the next generation is our relentless desire to insulate children from the natural friction of life. By constantly sweeping away difficulties, we deny young minds the vital testing grounds required to build true psychological resilience. The global ecosystem inherently rewards those who can absorb pressure. Yet we systematically train our youth to fear accountability, mistakenly believing that a frictionless childhood leads to a successful adulthood. When we refuse to let a child experience the weight of natural consequences, we inadvertently guarantee they will crumble under real-world stakes. Elevating a child's capacity for high-value leadership requires us to intentionally guide them toward accepting high-stakes responsibility. True maturity is a direct reflection of the burdens an individual is willing to carry for the collective tribe. When children are given genuine ownership over meaningful tasks where failure carries real weight, their entire self-image transforms into unyielding strength. A child's future market value is not determined by a sudden spark of adulthood genius, but by the uncompromising daily rhythm they observe and replicate during their formative years. We often celebrate a child's raw talent while completely ignoring the chaotic framework of their daily habits. The global ecosystem values predictability and consistency above all else because trust is built on reliable execution. When we allow children to negotiate their responsibilities based on their immediate emotional state, we train them to become fragile adults whose performance fluctuates with convenience. This lack of structure signals to the wider environment that they cannot be relied upon to anchor the collective tribe. Designing a standard of absolute execution requires us to shift a child's understanding of discipline from a form of punishment to a foundational tool for personal sovereignty. When a young mind learns to hold a flawless line of execution day after day, irrespective of external validation or temporary comfort, they are quietly building an undeniable competitive advantage. This unyielding commitment to an internal standard teaches them that their daily rhythm is an uncompromised signature of their character. By holding this line, the next generation stops reacting to the chaos of the marketplace and begins dictating the terms of their own value.